In the last episode, I spoke about our unexamined beliefs getting in the way of feeling peace, love, freedom, and happiness. Let's dive in and see what lies underneath them. What do you want? If there was one thing that could be different about your life right now that would make you feel good more of the time, what do you think it would be? What's the first thing that comes to mind? For some people, our thoughts are about not getting sick as much. For others, it's having more money or better relationships. For others, it's changing things that are wrong in the world. Of course, it will feel better if external circumstances improve. But in the meantime, we have this moment. The better you feel in your daily life, in the small moments, the more you'll have access to peaceful, creative solutions for our personal and worldly concerns. It's important to learn how to find that peace and harmony in whatever circumstance you find yourself in. Even in unpeaceful experiences, there is a core of peace to be uncovered. Whether your team wins or loses, whether you're healthy or sick, whether things are going your way or not, you'll have the access to feeling the fundamental well-being that is the gift of life. Our ancestors made the world better for us in so many ways. They passed down their farming techniques. They taught us how to use radio waves and microwaves. But they also passed down their beliefs about war, about obedience and conditioning and schooling. They taught us how to train horses. They taught us how to be good, fair, kind slaves and slave owners. They showed us how to complain and how to blame. What's holding you back? We're being held back because we don't fully recognize where good feelings actually come from. Finding the gold within our shadow is a more reliable way to discover peace in a moment. Rather than needing to control our physical circumstances, if we find what's disturbed within ourselves, we also reveal the treasure we've been looking for. So, how do we feel good even when things aren't going our way? Our culture reinforces the story that good feelings come from doing well in school, from being praised, from having a good job or the right partner, from being lovable, from getting external approval, when in fact, it comes from somewhere completely different. Our most fundamental sense of well-being comes from a place more natural than words. It's the place where babies laugh and notice the colors and sounds around them. The good news is that there is a skill that we can practice and integrate into our daily lives that puts us in harmony with good feelings that don't depend on who we're with or how healthy we are or what's in our bank account or who wins the election. This skill helps you feel good in more moments. I'll warn you though, when I tell you what it is, it probably won't sound like it's going to really work. But if you're willing to suspend disbelief for a few weeks and try out some things that I suggest, I'm willing to bet it will indeed be the answer you've been looking for. Simply stated, the skill I'm talking about is noticing the story you tell yourself about what something means and being able to step out of it into an awareness of presence. It's like watching a movie, being absorbed in that reality where all sorts of dramatic things are happening, and then becoming aware that you're actually in a physical room where real life is happening. However, this is stepping out of the awareness of whatever physical room you're in and into a space where things exist before they have a label like room or physical. This is a particularly good skill to have in your toolkit because it takes less than a moment, but it's powerful enough to fix your problems and alter your state of being on a daily basis. If your mind immediately thinks that you already know how to do this, or maybe it went to some other story about why this isn't the right solution for you, noticing those thoughts gives you an opportunity to look at the story from a slightly different angle and a space to now do something different. Maybe there's a different story or a different way to practice presence that you haven't done yet. If you want a better experience, see if you can step into a beginner's mind for a moment and consider that this could be the moment that changes everything. I guarantee it won't be the right solution if you don't use it. The only way to know if it will work will be to try it. Presence is the secret weapon we were all born with. Think of a moment when you became very present and whatever you had been thinking before is gone as you open your senses to take in new information about what's happening right now. It's something most people have already experienced at one time or another. Think of a moment when you became very present and whatever you had been thinking before is gone as you open your senses to take in new information about what's happening right now. Sometimes it spontaneously happens in a moment of awe, a new birth, a rainbow, a sunset, or being in a loved one's presence. Often it's part of a moment of fear, an accident, a near miss, a moment when everything changed and reality was no longer as you expected. The most memorable moments of presence usually involve things like births, accidents, and moments of extreme fear. Even though everything might have happened many years ago, if you had a moment of presence, you'll often remember exactly where you were, what time of day it was, what season, who you were with, and often even the smells and the sounds are remembered with a hyper clarity, as if it happened only yesterday. Leaning forward to find out what a flower smells like is another moment of presence. In the moment we're moving towards the flower, we don't know what it'll smell like. We breathe in the scent, and that's the moment we're aware or present. Next, we'll label the fragrance. Maybe it's rich or earthy or sweet or good or bad, or maybe we couldn't detect a smell. As those words to describe it start to form, we come out of presence into duality, where we compare things. We no longer wonder what it smells like. We can tell you. There are ways to harness the power of this clarity and grounding that presence brings us in little ordinary moments of our days. When we do, we face a doorway that leads us right into tuning into our authentic selves and knowing the incredible gift of this moment. Let me introduce World A and World B. Although it's simplistic, it may be helpful to think of what I'm describing as two different worlds, and we're living in them simultaneously. One world you're aware of when you're present. Things just are. I'll call it World A. In World A, there are physical sensations happening inside and outside of our bodies. In World B, there are words and thoughts and judgment and separation and distinction. In World B, there are lots of stories. A newborn baby lives primarily in World A. It's our first awareness. Animals are likely primarily living in World A as well. World B is where our stories live. It's the place where words have meanings, and we can set a date on a calendar to do something on Tuesday. Now, the way I am creating this metaphor, we live in both of these worlds at the same time. But we can only be fully aware of one or the other at any one time. Neuroscientists have discovered that we can't truly be aware of more than one thing in a moment. For example, I could be feeling my left toe, and then I think about what I need to get at the store. And then I heard a bird call. And then I notice the sun is down. And then I feel how cold my nose is. Each one of these occupies a moment or longer of my awareness. Imagine life is like a roll of film with still pictures lined up to simulate movement to our eyes. Our moments of awareness run through a filter that makes it seem like we're aware of things at the same time. But when you're actually in that exact moment with something, there's only awareness of that one thing. In everyday life, our focus shifts between many things every single minute. If you've ever spent any time watching your thoughts, you'll have an idea of how random most of them are. What we pay attention to, our focus, is the most important thing we have control over. What we focus on during the day, during the hour, during the minute, during the second, determines what sort of memories we're making, what sort of life we're creating. Here are a few ways to study awareness and presence and gain control of your focus, this most important thing. Spend some time right now consciously moving your attention around, like a spotlight shining on different subjects. A chair, feel of the hair on your neck, a sound, maybe a thought. I'm going to give you a minute or two to really do it right now. Take a minute or two to turn your attention to about 10 different things. And as your eyes are taking in an object, or your ears are aware of a sound, or your skin or your heart is aware of a sensation, try to notice if there's anything else going on in that precise moment. Take in different sounds. Become aware of places in your body. Become aware of your breath. Feel the air as it's going in and out of your body. Come back now to your regular awareness. What changes do you notice in yourself as I say, come back to your regular awareness? Let's keep going. I want you to feel the tips of your left and your right index fingers, or any two parts of your body. Is it true that we cannot pay attention to both fingers at the same time? Go ahead and try it. You may notice that your attention goes back and forth between checking in with the left finger and checking in with the right finger. Or maybe it has left the awareness of either finger and takes off on a thought about being able to feel both fingers. Are you actually feeling your finger, or are you thinking about it? Now, some people don't notice the shifting awareness right away. Whatever you experience, keep practicing this exercise a few times a day over a period of at least a week, really feeling into your experience of each finger. Let's keep exploring. I'm going to give you the next 5 minutes to practice moving your attention from one thing to the next. Try not to stay on any one thing more than about 5 seconds. These can be external things, or internal sensations or thoughts. Catch when you have a thought come up. Notice what it is saying, and then be sure to turn your attention away from the thought and onto something different within 5 seconds. Keep going if you know what we're doing. But if you just tuned back to this video thinking that it had ended, you're welcome to join in now. What we're doing is we're consciously moving our attention to different things we notice. Might be sounds or smells or feelings in our bodies, sensations, thoughts. We're moving our attention from one thing to the next, not resting on any one thing more than 5 seconds or so. Come back to your regular awareness now. How does your regular awareness feel different than the focused awareness we were just practicing? If you put in the time to practice, you're going to be gradually, gently released from your conditioning. You're dipping into the refreshing waters of the moment. At times, it might feel strange or disorienting or stupid or elementary. Notice those thoughts of world B, and then practice turning your awareness to something in world A. More presence, more opportunities. More stories, less awareness. Presence is the key to peace and happiness in all moments of our life. There are lots of places to find happiness, and they're all here now. In fact, the only place you will never ever find happiness is outside of this moment. Join me in the next episode to explore how we can use what we've learned to see a bigger picture.